let's talk, man. So let's talk about the difference between, I guess you want to talk about a civilian government employee
Hmm.
or just a civilian period versus a service member. Elaborate on what you mean by that, man.
Now, basically, a civilian government worker, because you really can't. And no disrespect to our civilians out there to support us as troops and everything like that, but you really can't compare a regular civilian just to a service member. So our government civilian people are very freaking interesting, to say the least. I mean, they have some very important roles and tasks that they feel, and certain fields and certain avenues that they take the slack for us
Mm-hmm.
is really really dope. I want to say shout out to all of them, especially the ones that are civilian contracting overseas, man, from the post office
Mm-hmm.
to security, everything like that, man, because shit couldn't run out there without y'all being out there. However, comma,
Here it
us
comes.
us warriors, man. And I'm not gonna say shout out to the engineers who create the Humvees and everything like that, because I'm a damn diesel mechanic, man. And y'all be putting stupid shit in stupid fucking places, and we don't have the tools that adequately
There's
get
a
to that.
reason for that shit, man.
Like, you gotta take off fucking 12 hoses, a fucking U-bar, fucking drain a fucking transmission, drop the pan just to get to one little damn piece that's about this size to fucking change
That's
it out.
usually
That
because of
shit
a spec,
irks
man.
me.
I mean, it's just like if you've ever seen an oil change on a Ducati Panigale, shit's crazy.
It's
So there's a reason.
it's just ridiculous. But a lot of times we kind of, us as service members, we give the civilian workers shit because they're civilians. Oh fuck them, they don't know nothing. They civilians, whatever. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all do an awesome job, man. Just doing what y'all do in y'all lane. And I know a lot of people are actually confused as far as, because correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all kind of have a ranking system also, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's grades.
And that's equivalent to a ranking system, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the grades depending on what pay scale you're in. It kind of varies, and it's usually corresponds to a particular military rank. So you have those that are similar to a captain, to a lieutenant colonel, to a colonel, to a 1 star. I think a 2 star, maybe a 3.
Mhm.
I think as high as it goes up, not counting politicians and stuff. But
Now, the one thing I will say comparing civilian workers to us is your level of I guess you could say discipline is not on the same level. Like me personally, a lot of times I get irritated as fuck when a civilian is not on time for something, or I have to wait for some shit that they haven't got to, or they forgot, or some shit like that. Like prime example, my household goods took fucking forever. It was like almost a month to get my shit compared to when the military was actually running that, and it went, it would go smooth. You get your shit in like a
but
week or
hey,
so.
man, real quick on that though, a lot of times they aren't federal employees. They're usually contracted, and they just get a check from the government to do that. So
The people who actually move it, yes,
yeah.
but the people who set up the move are
Mm-hmm.
civilians. They're not contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole process of setting up, scheduling it, and then, oh, I'm sorry it went like that, but I'm not gonna do nothing for you. Click. You know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah.
it drives me nuts. But
Mm-hmm.
as a service member, I want to shout you out, bro, because you're a civilian engineer guy who one of the people I probably be cussing out. Even though I know you don't touch none of that shit, you don't do nothing like that. We don't even know what you do because you need a super secret top
Hey,
secret
man,
clearance.
shut up.
Yep. By the way, let me look around, make sure ain't no snipers or fucking Blackhawks standing
Yeah.
around or some shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? You know, appreciate what y'all do. Y'all are our counterparts, and a lot of stuff that we do as far as service members have to go through y'all, and it couldn't be done without y'all. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I mean as far as civilians versus service members. It's not like us butting heads like we fighting. It's just
Mm-hmm.
comparing the two. So what
Sure.
do you think?
I agree with most of what you said. Your hate for engineers is a little biased and unfounded,
Hate is a
but
strong word.
we can't do nothing about that. We've been talking about that for years, man. I think it's cool that what I do kind of supports what you do, and that's pretty dope. And we've talked about that on a couple occasions where stuff that I've directly supported has directly benefited you on a couple of occasions, and that's pretty cool, man. That definitely gives you motivation to do work and get shit done and do the best you can. You always hear about lazy government employees and shit like that. I mean, it's true. There are a lot of lazy government employees. There's a lot of lazy civilian employees. There's a lot of lazy service members. There's a lot of lazy cashiers, Uber drivers. I mean, in every field, there's people that are, your top tier, top performers. And then you got your people that just making it, trying to get a check. Then you get those people that's just like, So we call them, some of them retired in place. That's just getting that money and just hanging out till they retire.
I like that.
Or they're like, yo, I ain't gonna do shit, so I'm cool. One thing I will say that I'm very hesitant on, a lot of times civilian folks are ex-military, so in that particular case, I'm good. But like, if you're straight civilian, no military experience, like I hate to see them going to like Home Depot and Lowe's and shit, trying to get that military discount. Like that shit kills me. Like there are discounts that we can get. Bro. Yeah. And I didn't even know what that word was, man, until like maybe a year or two ago. But it was so funny just growing up. Like I was so conscious of that shit. Like I had one of Dad's Harley tees, and I was so hesitant to wear it just because I didn't want to commit stolen valor. But I talked to a couple people, showed the shirt, and they were like, "Oh yeah, man, that's no big deal. Wear that shit. Honor your father." And so, I hate that shit, man. I really do. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, man. But it's some hardworking folks out there, man. So shout out to them.
And you brought up a question. You brought up something I have a question for. So
sure.
You said you work with a lot of ex-military. You know what I'm saying? When they actually retire, whatever they do, cross over into the same realm of you and the rest of the civilians, is it easy to work with them, or do they still expect to have that same military prestige and expect everybody around them to have that same military bearing that they once had? Like, can they let go of that military aspect and think more of a civilian?
So, I'm gonna preface this first. I'm an Army brat. Dad was in the Army. Mom was in the Army. Granddad was in the Army. We got tons of family in the Army. So there's a little bit of bias there. The folks in the Navy, fine. Folks in the Air Force, fine. But I'm sorry, the Marines are just different. They just different, man.
Shout out to my Marine brothers eating crayons.
Respect to the Marines, still love them to death.
They're my brothers.
They just different, man. And like sometimes they can't adjust, and sometimes certain jobs that they find, if they find the right job to match that Marine mindset, if you will, they excel and do great.
Yep.
But when they don't find that right match, it's not, I
tell you what, the Marine ones, I bet whatever they wear, that shit be on point. Best uniforms in the whole and every service, man. They keep their uniforms crisp. I know they do the same thing with they suits and ties and polo shirts and Aladdin vests and everything like that.
Shut the hell up, man. So I mean, because one guy I'm thinking of in particular, awesome guy, but it's like, bruh, you're not a Marine anymore, man. Well, you are a Marine in spirit, but this doesn't require that level of skill set, that type of skill set.
Right.
And so it was hard for him to adjust for a while, but again, he found that job to match his skill set, and he's thriving, man.
Yeah, I had when I first took my little break in service or whatever, I really had a hard time adjusting to regular civilian world, because it's, once you're in that military aspect, it's really hard to let that shit go, because that's the whole point of basic training. They break you down to build you into whatever branch you are, to have that mindset. And honestly, it never leaves you. It never leaves. But
I mean, we get some of that culture, like what is the values of the Army and shit. Like a lot of times we get military leadership coming in, so a lot of that still passed down and all that shit too. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, just to interact with some of those folks, and then sometimes where you fit in your grade. Sometimes, how do I put this? Sometimes a service member doesn't necessarily take into consideration that equivalency. And sometimes I've had to be like, look, man, on this particular thing right here, I am your peer. So we're going to work this shit out together. Right, or right. There's been a couple times where they've been subordinate to me. And it took a, quick little come to Jesus meeting real quick. And, they fine, man. Some of the best experiences I've had.
That's good. And I think both sides learn a lot and they bring a lot to the table as far as like your job and everything like that, because they have that military experience as far as, like you said, what you do affects what I do type shit. They've been on the ground with the type of stuff that you do, so they have an inside look into what you do, and now they're switching over to your side and have a better view of it. However, a lot of them just can't let that rank go. Let's call a fucking spade a spade. Some of them, well, I was this when I was in. Keyword was when you were in.
Oh, so one of the coolest experiences I had is one of the leaders of our group. He was active, then he retired and took his civilian equivalent job. And so a lot of times those people that take his position that are civilian, they're usually scared to interact with those colonels and those generals and shit. I would talk to him like, I don't give a damn. I'm not worried about them. They're going to do what I say. And it was just so cool watching him just interact. And he's like, I know your job, man. And it's smart as shit, man. Dude was so smart, man. It was crazy. But it was just cool watching him like maneuver both sides, being like, I used to have your job. So you can't tell me shit. You can't intimidate me. We know how this is going to fly, and we're going to do it this way. And he was usually smarter than the motherfuckers, too. So that was kind of cool, too.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, man, that's about all I got, man. Appreciate y'all service. You, big bro. Everybody else that helped support us. You know what I'm saying? Us war fighters, as the civilians like to call us. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we say. So, yes, definitely shout out.
We appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. If we can make your job easier, it's a good day at work, man.
Appreciate it.
Real shit.
Because we got enough shit to deal with.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.